So, Dan, what do you want to call this show?
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting poked, so poke the gorilla.
Oh, yeah, you're the gorilla.
Yeah, I'm the gorilla. Yeah.
I finally saw that. Well, they finally uploaded the. That discussion we had on education.
Yeah, I do remember the yeah.
I got to tell you, it was pretty good. But the Gorilla Today is probably somewhat of an extension of that.
Oh yeah. All right. Well. That begs the question. What's the Gorilla Today, Dan?
Well, it revolves around education.
Education. Okay.
It revolves around getting high.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay. Let me start with this.
Clarify that a little bit.
Well,
I think
there's a push
that's
now.
that's leading a little bit. Clarify.
There's push now for Rhode Island to legalize marijuana for recreational.
For recreations. Okay.
Now let me start with this, Sean.
So wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Gorilla is legalizing marijuana.
It's
I wouldn't conflate it with education right away. Let's get there.
It's more, not necessarily just the legalization of marijuana, but the motivation for legalization of marijuana.
Okay.
Now let me start with this, okay?
Yep.
Listen, I understand that there are medical uses for marijuana, and I'm not here to debate that. What I am here relative to that, to talk about and to kind of ask the question. Listen, if you have you need prescription for medical marijuana, am I correct?
Yes, you do need a prescription for medical marijuana.
So you need a prescription for medical marijuana. Any other prescription you get from any physician on the face of the planet, where do you have to go to get it filled?
A pharmacy.
How come you don't have to do that with pot?
Because that's not how it's distributed.
How come you have to go to a compassion center where there are no pharmacists? Isn't that an interesting question?
It is, but I don't think it's really all that concerning. I mean, it's a different entity. It depends on where it would go. I mean, if it's not regulated in the same way currently, because let's face it, it's not universally regulated. I mean, the pharmacy industry has an entity that regulates. It's a federal entity. The federal government has not acknowledged the legalization either on the medical level or the recreational level. We could start on the medical there. So, of course, it's not going to go through the same channels.
I don't buy that. I think it's a little more nefarious than that.
All right.
I think the reason you don't have to go to a pharmacy for medical marijuana is because the people that are owning the compassion centers, being licensed for the compassion centers, are politically connected. And they're not pharmacies. They're not pharmacists. I think that's the reason. I have a real hard time believing that you can't regulate a medical product, a prescriptable product, in a pharmacy. I have a real hard time with that.
Well, why? I don't know. I'm confused.
Okay.
Because I just said, and you're kind of dodging it. Okay. I'm going to call you out on this one.
All right.
That the pharmaceutical industry is regulated federally. The feds have not consented that marijuana is okay in any way, shape, or form. How do you combine those two things? The entity that would do what you're saying will not acknowledge it, so they can't by that fact bring marijuana in any form under that structure.
States' rights.
What are you talking about?
States' rights. They may be federally regulated. A pharmacy is federally regulated, right?
Yes.
But the states have the right to pass legalization of medical marijuana
Which they've done.
and recreational use.
Right.
So how does that preclude a pharmacy from handling a legal product in the state that it's being handled?
Well,
I understand that a pharmacy can't distribute pot in a state that doesn't have legalized medical marijuana. But in the state that's legalized, I have a problem.
Well, but then the banking laws are at play here because pharmacies, most pharmacies are multi-state entities.
Yeah.
They are under the guise of, or they're under the umbrella of retail businesses, which have business structures which they can accept things like credit payments. Mm-hmm. Again, businesses that even in the states where it's legal. That want to distribute can't even do that because they can't operate under federal banking rules. So there's so many disconnects there.
Can I give you an example?
Sure.
Okay. In some states, you can buy beer and wine in a convenience store, but you can't in Rhode Island. And isn't beer and wine or alcohol in general federally regulated?
Yeah, absolutely.
So doesn't the state have the right to say no?
But the beer and wine industry can use the federal banking system to do it. So they operate under the same economic constraints as everybody else, whereas the medical marijuana entities do not. They just do not.
They don't operate under the federal banking laws?
They can only take cash. No, they can't even. They can only take cash. They pay their taxes in cash.
The state of Rhode Island now wants to legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means that they want to use the common nonsensical arguments to do that when the real reason they want to legalize marijuana is why? Do you know?
I mean, I would say tax revenue
Bingo.
or some sort of revenue focus.
That's it. It's all money. And here's where I have a problem with that. Number one, I have a problem with that because what they're doing is they're selling us out for another form of revenue. The way they sold us out with gambling, the way they're in continually to sell us out with gambling, with sports book gaming, and now they want to put an app on people's phones, so it's even that much easier. In other words, what they're doing is they're setting up easier ways to pick our pockets and to allow us to go down a bad road. But not only that, let me go a little further.
Yeah, let's. I mean, I have to stop you. Let's not go too down the road of.
No, it's not a moral judgment.
No. Let's not go too down
Not
the
a
road
moral
of conflating this discussion with other issues that people have. Gambling is another separate issue. I think sure on a state level they can be similarly motivated, but we're talking about the validity or the potential, the validity and potential of a legalized marijuana. It's already medically legal. First of all, it's already medically legal in Rhode Island, right? So it's not.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the jumping off point.
No, I'm just saying it's already medically legal. I'm not saying it's a jumping off point.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going from complete prohibition to recreational. And quite honestly, I'm not. I'm for recreational for other reasons, but I can have the discussion of should it stay more on the medical side or should we have some sort of
If you're gonna,
hybrid.
I have a problem with the motivation. I have a real problem because you know something. These politicians, they're nothing but greedy animals. They will sell us down the river. They sell our souls for another $1.50 in revenue, and that's what irritates me. And I'll tell you another thing too. It's so frustrating because now there's actually the beginning talks, and we all know how this starts. The camel's nose gets in the tent. Before you know it, things go bananas. They're already starting to talk about re-legalizing prostitution. And again, it's not a moral equivalent. The fact is that
We're going down another road again here, Dan.
I'm trying to make a comparison. And
Okay.
the comparison is that no matter what this government
Right,
does,
because you're comparing marijuana to prostitution and gambling.
no, I'm comparing the motivation for the state to legalize these issues. That's what I'm comparing. The motivation is all the same. It's all about stealing more money from us.
Okay,
That's what it's
well,
all about.
where
And by the way, let me also add another piece to this puzzle. Oh, did you want to?
I was going to say, where does the residents of a given state's will come into play in this?
At the voting booth.
Okay, right. So if it goes to a vote and it passes,
it doesn't go to a vote. They do it in the legislature.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I know that in Massachusetts, for instance, where I have my residence, it passed via popular vote, for
Right.
instance. So I mean, that
Yes, I remember that. And you know something? So be it.
Okay.
But
So
over here-
so let's back this up then. Let's back up because maybe we're talking past each other a little bit. So would you have less of a problem if it went to a popular vote and passed?
Less of a problem?
Yeah.
I'd have to say I would have to see the measure itself, and I would have to see the response. I mean, ultimately, I would have to accept it for a popular
Okay.
a popular
all right.
vote.
So it's
But let me add to that.
yeah. Okay.
One of the reasons we have a representative government, and I know it works on both sides, is because a lot of times the popularity of something isn't what's best for the economy or the country or the population at large. Sometimes that's the case. So would I have to accept it? I would. Would I disagree with it? Absolutely. And only because there's enough in
Yeah,
this
let's
country.
focus on that. Let's focus on why you disagree with it rather than the political side of it.
Very,
because
very-
I think those are separate arguments. That could be a whole nother poking the gorilla. That's next time's gorilla to poke.
Why I disagree with it?
Yeah.
Again, if you want to smoke dope, have a party. Go. I don't.
Okay.
But to believe there's a lot of myths around the smoking of marijuana. One is that it eliminates a black market. Let me tell you, it doesn't. Look what's happening in Colorado. You listen to the DEA. You listen to the law enforcement agencies out there, and the fact is it's going the other way. The black market is on fire. in Colorado. There are more illegal growers than legal growers, and they're exporting to states around. And
Okay.
it's very sad. So that's a myth that's exploded. There's no such thing as eliminating the black market. That's number one.
But that's a myth. You're not talking about a myth of marijuana. You're talking about a myth of economics.
I'm talking about a myth of the state trying to push this.
I'm-
They're telling you that it eliminates the black market, and it absolutely
Okay,
does.
okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. That is a argument factor is true because we're both familiar with the way economics work, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is
It's
our
our job.
business. And it's ridiculous to think that would happen because I mean you can just extrapolate it easily and say, look, the black market exists just by legalizing it. Well, by legalizing it and regulating it, you're going to add costs to production that are going to increase the costs above and beyond what it would cost in the black market.
Bingo.
So people that want it at a certain price are going to go to where it's cheapest. So
Yes.
I think that, but again, the argument more could be, hey, look, there's going to be a black market, but if we want to move away from a black market, we have to start implementing systems to allow it to be produced legally so that the market, the free market, which you believe in,
Yes,
will
I
then
do.
work itself out, which doesn't happen overnight. So
That's
yes,
true.
the argument that that's the reason for it is probably, it's misleading, but I don't think that saying that the black market existing or expanding is a reason to say that it is absolutely a bad idea.
Let me start with that. Also, there's health issues and the belief. There are some that try to promulgate the belief that marijuana smoking is not as bad as cigarettes. That's baloney. You're sucking smoke into your lungs. As a matter of fact, from what I remember, they hold it in, and that's a health issue. But we can go on and on and on.
Yeah, we could go on. I mean, I would probably go on and compare it to alcohol, which is legal, but then we'd probably be here for an hour. This could be like a
Can we go on another one?
A 10-part. This could be a
Yeah.
10-part poking the gorilla right here. But
Hey, listen, this is a
big topic. This is a big topic. I think we could talk about this more. But for now, we'll have to wait for another day.
All right, so let's go drinking.
All right.
All right.